Good morning, welcome back to Farmer's Wife Homestead, and I'm still on the road. Well, not literally on the road, I'm visiting family and I'm staying at my daughter and son-in-law's place. You've seen this kitchen a few times before, and today's video we're going to be making some school lunchbox fillers type thing, or just, you know, snacks, after school snacks. My granddaughter's got a play date this afternoon, and so we've got these bananas that really need using up. So we're going to make a banana cake. We're going to make it in a square pan so that it's easier to fit into the little compartment books, school lunch boxes and things. I picked up this Edmonds, and you know how much I love my Edmonds book along with my husband. I picked up this a couple of weeks ago, and it's the Edmonds Classic, and I've never seen it before. Now, the modern day Edmonds cookbooks are fantastic as well, but hubby and I flick through it and we go, oh, where's this recipe? Where's that recipe? This is the book you need to get if you are maybe around our age and you are missing some of the classics. And I've read this from cover to cover, and I tell you what, I was like, oh, it was like walking down memory lane, and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that. I remember this. So it's got some amazing recipes, and I found this one at the warehouse. Once my daughter and I are working on getting the shop up and running, once I do, I'm going to put some of the Edmonds cookbooks up in my shop so that you know, people from overseas can buy these easily, because honestly they are the best little books. They've been around for, it was first established in 1879, but the cookbooks then started in 1908, so they've been around for a long time. So anyway, I think the banana cake was one of the top, they've got the top 20. Let me just have a look. Yeah, so your favorite Edmonds recipe, number 1 was banana cake, number 2 Afghans, then ginger crunch, scones, pikelets, chocolate chip biscuits, mustard sauce, of course to go with the corned beef, Anzac biscuits, peanut brownies, shortbread, 1 egg chocolate cake, yo-yos, cheese scones, pavlova, Louise cake, bacon and egg pie, cinnamon cream oysters. I've not tried them before. Hokey pokey biscuits, cupcakes, and carrot cake. So those are the top 20 recipes. And I haven't told husband this, so don't tell him. There is a recipe for his Neenish tarts. 8 years he's been asking me for Neenish tarts, and I've not made them yet. I've never even tasted one. So one day we're going to surprise them once I get back home, and we're going to do that. So I'm going to look up the banana cake recipe. We're going to get straight into it, and then we are also making a recipe that I grew up with. My mum used to make this, and she called it fudge cake. I've adapted the recipe slightly, and I just make it at home, just, you know, whenever we feel like it. And I'm going to share that recipe with you today. I will share the link to this banana cake recipe so that you can get that yourself. So obviously it's not my recipe. Why make up my own when this one is tried and true and it's all I've ever used? And the fudge cake, which I'm going to call fudge slice because it's not a cake, it's a slice. This fudge slice, that's my recipe, so I'll share that on the website. All right. Going to get the ingredients ready, and then let's make this. Okay, I have got some softened butter, and as I said, the recipe will be linked in the description. I can't tell you the exact measurements because it's somebody else's recipe, so I can't do that. So we need the butter. Make sure you scrape it all out. And we need some sugar, just some white sugar. I think you could probably use brown sugar if you wanted to give it sort of a more caramelly kind of taste. And then we are going to beat this together until it's light and fluffy, and then beat in a couple of eggs. So let's do that now. So when a recipe says to cream the butter and the sugar, I know that when I first started baking when I was a young lass, I didn't take this creaming part, I didn't do it long enough. So always cream it for longer than you think. The sugar here is still, I can still feel it, it's gritty, but can you see how light and fluffy that is? And that's where you want to take it. Okay, so cream it for a bit longer than what you think, so you know, a good 2-3 minutes. You want to get some air into it and incorporate it well, because then that will help you have a nice fluffy cake. Right, now we're going to add the eggs one at a time and beat it well in between. Okay, so that's after the eggs have been added, and now it's even fluffier. And that's the whole idea, because of course you want your cakes to be fluffy and light, not dense. So if you don't do this long enough, then you're going to have a more dense cake. So I hope you can just see how fluffy that is. Right, we're going to mash the egg, what do you call it, bananas. Okay, so the recipe says 4 medium bananas. These are quite large bananas, so we're going to give these a go. And to be honest, I never ever, even though I've used this recipe for years, I've never measured out the banana portion. I just go, okay, well, I've got 3 bananas, or I've got 4 bananas, or whatever, and it always works out just perfectly. You could use a potato masher, or you could just use a fork, and you just want those really well mashed. And if you can do this ahead of time, that's even better. They just macerate a lot better. It's a bit noisy, I'm just going to pop that on there. So yeah, you could mash your bananas first and then just leave it for a while you're getting everything else ready. It just gives them time to rest and macerate and go a little bit more gooey. There is nothing better than the smell of mashed bananas. Now this recipe calls for a lemon icing, but traditionally I've always had a chocolate icing, so we'll be making a chocolate icing for this, and I'll just make up my own. Alright, that looks about good, no big chunks in there. Banana bread is something that I haven't really made a lot of, but the kids wanted a cake, so there we go. Now I need some hot milk, so I'm just going to measure those ingredients out and heat up the milk in the microwave. Okay, so you want the milk nice steaming hot, because you're going to put baking soda into it now, and that helps to sort of like activate it, and it'll go all frothy. Give that a mix. Hear the change? Right, that's perfect. Now we're going to add all the rest of the ingredients in. So we're going to add the bananas. Them fold through, because remember, you want to fold it through because you've already put some air into that butter, egg and sugar mixture. Now don't be frightened if it looks like it's curdled. It's not. It's just the reaction, the cold butter and the eggs and whatnot. So we're going to pop in the baking soda and hot milk, mix that in. Fold that in, and we need need flour. This is just plain baking flour. The last thing we need is some baking powder. There we go, and that's it. So just fold through that flour. You can sift it if you like. I never bother. I sort of just give the flour a good mix before I throw it in. Just make sure that you get all of that flour incorporated. You don't want to find a chunk of flour. See how I found some pockets of flour? You don't want to have a chunk of flour when you bite into your cake. Just try and be gentle about it, that's all. Perfect. So I've got a tray here and I'm trying to decide if that's too much mix for this tray. Might do it in this one, there's quite a lot of mix there. This is where those bulldog clips that I use are very handy, because then your baking paper doesn't move around. You just want to get that as level as possible. Smells so good. All right, we're going to now bake that for about 50 minutes, but it's a thinner cake than in a round tin, so I'm just going to keep an eye on it and check it after 30 minutes. Okay, so that's the first recipe done. Now I'm going to get myself cleaned up, and then we're going to make the fudge slice, and we need a blender for that. Now, back in the day, we used to use just a good old snap lock bag, doubled over, and a rolling pin, and just bash the biscuits. But these days, I just, use the modern conveniences and I whiz them up. Now, the good thing about doing it with the bashing it up method is you get some small and then some bigger chunks. But with the blender, it mashes it all up. So I'm wondering, should I just do it the old-fashioned way, the way I used to do it? Maybe I should. All right, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Just in case you don't have a blender, I'll show you exactly how to do it. So I'm going to clean up, get everything ready, and then I will bring you back. All right, so for this one, I'm using what we have over here called Super Wine biscuits. They're basically just like a vanilla plain biscuit. Open it up and show you. So use the equivalent of what you have. So it's just a plain sweet tea biscuit. So we're going to smash 2 packets of those, and each packet is 250 grams. I will link the recipe in the description, or you can find it on my website, and I'll put my website up here. So we also need some butter, sugar, cocoa powder, and vanilla, and that's pretty much it. Now, butter over in New Zealand is crazy expensive. It's 500 grams, which is a pound of butter, is upwards of $11-12 now, which is crazy because New Zealand is like the dairy capital of the world, and us Kiwi citizens have to pay huge prices for dairy, and it's just, don't even get me started on that. Yep. Anyway, so you could try margarine or some other type of table spread if you wanted to. I haven't tried it myself, so I can't guarantee that it will work, but by all means it is a heck of a lot cheaper. So give it a try and come back and let me know in the comments if the margarine works. But personally, I prefer butter. Even though it's expensive, I will make cuts in other areas so that I can still afford to use plain butter for any of our baking. Okay, so I need scales, and I've got a pot over here, and we're going to heat up the butter, sugar and cocoa powder. Close enough. Right, I'm going to pop that into the pot. Now, to be completely honest, when I make up this recipe, and I've made it for years, like a very, very long time, I tend to just pour stuff in, throw a bit of butter in. So I'm trying my hardest to measure everything so that I can get the recipe typed up for you guys. All right, I'm going to start with that amount. And I've just got this on a medium heat. I'll turn it down slightly. So we just need some baking cocoa, and my daughter's just got this one here, which is a nice cocoa. And I've got some vanilla essence. About a teaspoon of that. Okay, so we're just going to melt all of these together, and all you're after is to make sure that the butter and the sugar and the cocoa powder is all melded together, and you want the sugar to dissolve. Might add another 50 grams of butter. I don't think that's going to be enough butter. So as I said, just have it on a medium heat because you don't want to burn it. You could also just put it on low heat and then get your biscuits ready as well. Okay, so I've just got a bag here. Popping the biscuits in. Now if you just want to use a blender, you can use a blender. You're just not going to have some of the chunks of bickies in there as well. Now they do tend to break the bag, so I'm just double bagging. And just get a rolling pin. Flip it over. The other method you can use is this, because you do definitely want some finer crumbs to sort of make up the fudge slice and to help it stick together, but you do want some chunks as well. It's quite nice to bite into a little bit of picky. Right, I think that's perfect. So with a blender, you're going to get them thoroughly blended unless you pulse. So there's a couple of, so you can see, got a lot of fine ones, but we've got some bigger chunks as well. That's perfect. And we're just going to pour it in. Such a quick, easy slice. There's no baking involved. Okay, that's perfect. Any big biscuits you can just crush up with your hands. Go like that, it'll bring all the big biscuits up to the top. Let's check on this. Yep, this is ready too. So everything's incorporated and I can't feel any sugar now. And then all you're going to do is pour everything in. Give it a really good mix. And you want it when you squeeze it to sort of like hold its shape together, or pat it down and it hold its shape. Right, I probably would have liked to have used the bigger tin, slice tin, but I'm using that for the banana cake, so this will just be a thicker one. I've got a little bit of the baking paper and some butter. This is just gonna help the baking paper stick. Give it a really good press down. You could use the back of a glass. Or a measuring cup. You want to give it a really, really good press down to help it set together. Get it right into the corners. And then we're just going to grab the rest. Get it as even as you can. And this is going to get topped with a icing as well, chocolate icing. So as I said, normally it's not in such a small pan and it's going to be quite thick, which doesn't bother me. Be quite nice. So you could do a pan sort of like about that long and have it a bit thinner, sort of about that thin. It's all going to taste the same. Okay, and this needs to set in the fridge. Basically what's going to happen is that butter is going to harden. There we go. Pop that in the fridge and I'll bring you back when it's ready to be iced. Cake's looking great. Alright, all ready. I can just feel it's ready. But you can also poke a skewer or a fork in there, and I'm just going to take it out and put it onto a, what do you call it? Brain fog. Cooling rack. Slightly overcooked actually because I was doing some work. Now I'm just going to pop a clean tea towel over it so that it stays nice and moist rather than goes all hard and crusty. So I have the ingredients ready to make up the chocolate icing, and the icing is the same for both the cake and the fudge slice. So I'm just going to make a double batch and show you how I do that. So I have some softened butter. Icing sugar, some vanilla, cocoa powder, and we're going to start beating this. You can use a stand mixer or just a hand beater is fine. I forgot to add the milk, so I've added milk as well. So just give it a good beat for a couple of minutes, and now I've got a nice light fluffy chocolate icing. Okay, so here's the banana cake. Chocolate fudge slice, and I'm just going to pop and you just pop them into, you could put chocolate sprinkles on there if you wanted to, and later on when I'm ready to cut them I will insert some footage and show you what it looks like all cut up, and then we will give it a try. I've just popped this into a cake dish, and beautiful moist cake, all but slightly overcooked. It's a never fail cake. Perfect pairing in my opinion. Not 100% sure how I'm going to go because it's a lot thicker than what it normally is, and it needs to set, you know, the icing needs to set a little bit longer. But just get a good knife and just cut it, leave it out of the fridge just for a couple of minutes to help you cut it as well. A very thick piece of fudge slice. I'm just going to cut it again. Yum. I haven't made this in a little while. Such an easy, great recipe. I just recommend that you make it thinner. But the taste is there with the combination of the icing. Brilliant. So there you go. 2 easy baking / slices that you can do. One's uncooked really quick and easy to put together, which is the chocolate fudge slice, and then the banana cake. Both recipes will be listed in the description. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one, hopefully. All right, take care. Bye for now.